All right, y'all. So, real quick, I'm gonna share with you something that's been doing that. I'm always putting videos on the Bible. So this is coming from Matthew 10:36, where the Bible says Jesus tells us that Jesus says, a man's foes, his enemies, shall be those of his own household. Now, again, y'all, esoterically, what does this mean? What is the hidden and inner meanings that we are to draw out of this? Now, I told you in previous videos, whenever you see the word house, abode, dwelling, residence, you don't see the word residence, but, well, it depends on which Bible you're reading. Archaic, you're going to see house. If it's some kind of contemporary, you might see residence. But whenever you see the word house in the Bible, depending on context matters, but generally, it usually is referring to yourself. Whenever you see the word house, it's usually referring to yourself. The word temple, synagogue, house. Whenever you see these words, again, use wisdom and look for context, but generally it means you, the individual. And I told you guys before, the Bible is, to me today, my evolved state of consciousness, the Bible is nothing more or less than a mirror reflecting who I am truly. So whenever you see the word house, again, it's referring to you. Your body, your temple, your house. And it says a man's enemies shall be those of his own house. Now, whenever you see the word enemies in the Bible, again, we're talking esoterically here, right? We're going to inner meanings, deeper meanings. Whenever you see the word enemies, again, the Bible being a reflection of you, it's talking about your enemy thinking patterns, your enemy thoughts. Your enemy thoughts. A man's foes, enemies shall be those of his own house. I think you guys see where I'm going with this, right? So your own thinking, your own thoughts, your stinking thinking are the enemies of your house, yourself, your body. And this is where people say we are our own worst enemies. Now, what do these enemies look like? Doubt. Doubt is one of your most fierce foes that you will have to face in this world. Your own doubt is one of the most fierce opponent, foe, enemy that is in your house, within your own self. Doubt will be one of the most staunched and determined foe that you're going to have to face and fight and overcome. A man's enemies will be those of his own house. What other enemies is plural? So we just saw one, doubt. Confusion. Your own confusion is another enemy of your own house. Bewilderment, perplexed. Life will cause you to feel many states of perplexities, many states of confusion, many states of bewilderment. A man's enemy shall be those of his own house. So the enemy of confusion is going to be in your house. The enemy of doubt is going to preside in your house. And you're going to have to kick these enemies out of your house. What are the enemies? What do they look like? Worry. Ooh. That is a worthy opponent right there. Worry is one of the most worthy opponents you're going to have to deal with. That is a worthy opponent. I mean, enemy probably trumps doubt. Worry is going to be a very dogged, adamant foe, enemy that you're going to have to overthrow and evict out of your house. What are these other enemies? Oh, this one right here probably trumps them all. Fear. I would dare to say fear trumps all your other enemies. I would say fear is fear is the number one, the ringleader of all the enemies in your house. The most dominant enemy to take up residency in your house is fear. Now, I don't like to point out problems without solutions, so I'm going to help you. I'm going to tell you the solution right now. And this is boomerang. It comes right back to me too. So before I give you a solution, let me point out some more enemies. So we got fear, we got worry, we got doubt. These are some of the enemies that are actually occupying, taking up occupancy in your house. A man's enemies shall be those of his own house, right? What other enemies do we have lurking in the atmosphere of your house, your mental atmosphere of your house? We have we said doubt, right? If we didn't say doubt, let me say doubt again. If I think I mentioned doubt, but just in case I didn't, let me just say doubt. Doubt is akin to fear, right? Doubt is the next of kin, a fear, family, they're related. Doubt is also a very potent enemy, very powerful enemy that you're going to have to serve an eviction notice out of your house. That you're going to have to go in and probably physically, metaphorically speaking, of course, throw out of the house. These are the enemies that's in your house. So doubt, fear, worry, confusion, all of these enemies are now residing in your house. And it is so important for us to go in and remove and clear these enemies out of our house. A man's enemy shall be those of his own house. Here's some more enemies that are a little bit more subtle. Lack. Lack is an enemy that you're going to have to kick out your house. The idea, the belief in limitations is enemies that you're going to have to throw out your house. Loss are enemies that you're going to have to kick out of your house. Because see, these enemies crept in unaware, right? You go through a breakup, right? You go through 2 breakups, maybe 3, maybe 4. As you age, people come into our lives and leave. People come, some for a reason, some for a season, whatever. People come and leave. And what this does is it creates loss, the belief of loss in your house. So loss has found its way into your house. You go through, you start a business, recession comes around, business collapse. Okay, so you had loss, financial ruin, financial loss, bankruptcy, foreclosed properties, these are things that happen. These are happenings in life, and therefore lack, limitation, and loss, the 3 L's, lack, loss, limitations, seep in to your house. And these are the enemies that are taking up occupancy and residency in your house that must be ousted out of your house. Now, I just pointed out some enemies, which are the problems. Now, here's the solution. There is a term that I've come across that I absolutely am in love with. It's called, the word is regnancy. The term, or phrase, or however you want to coin it. Hold on, let's go down. The term, 2 words, I think these are probably the most 2 powerful words, maybe for me. They just resonate with me. And here they are. Knowing your, here are the 2 words. Spiritual regnancy. Knowing your spiritual regnancy. Oh, I love that last one. Regnancy. Say it with me. Regnancy. Oh, I love that word. When I first heard it, I didn't know what it meant. I thought it was pregnancy. Regnancy, pregnancy. I was like, what's pregnancy? When I heard it, I forgot who I was listening to somebody, and they used the word regnancy, and I didn't know what it meant. So I read to my dictionary as I normally do. I got my thesaurus, all this stuff on my phone. And I'm like, yo, man. And I see pregnancy, and I'm like, regnancy. And I was like, oh, regnancy. The right to rule. Oh, I love that. Just the thought of it got me feeling awesome. Regnancy means the right to rule, the right to exercise authority, the right to rule. It is a word that is used with kings, queens, people, presidents, people who are in positions of power. On a secular, if you just use the word regnancy, it has a secular meaning, right? Kings, queens, anyone in authority, powerful, whatever. But when you add the word spiritual to it, it takes on a whole different connotation, right? The associations give it a broader, obviously spiritual definition. So it's spiritual regnancy. That now, when you coin it like that, spiritual regnancy, knowing your spiritual right to reign, to rule, to exercise authority. Jesus says, I give you power to tread upon serpents, scorpions, snakes, the adder, the lion. All that means All these enemies that we just identified in your house, your psychological, mental house. By the way, depression is another enemy that's in your house. Anxiety is another enemy that has found its way into your house. Loneliness, another enemy that's found its way into your house. All these enemies that we have identified, right? There's many more. Your spiritual regnancy is your right to exercise dominion and power over your house. And you have the spiritual regnancy, the right to exercise power, to rule, to reign, to lord over yourself, your house. You have the right to speak to these enemies and evict all of these enemies. Instantaneously, immediately, effective, immediately. You are fired, you are evicted, effective immediately. You have that authority, you have that power, and your word is your wand. And when you wave that wand, that word, over the enemies in your house, you've given them marching orders, and they must, by spiritual law, vacate the premises. Till next time, peace.